Joshua dancing away. Busting out his moves, look at that.
And I think we're all excited to be here. I'm kind of like the designated welcomer, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here. And this is a big, huge milestone moment in the Seeley family. So this is 50 years of marriage. And I know that for me personally, as a 15-year-old teenager, growing up in the current environment that I live in and growing up in, relationships tend to last a lot shorter. So when we're celebrating 50 years of an intimate relationship that is bound by covenants that people actually keep, that's something definitely to be recognized, remembered, and celebrated. So. Special for me, definitely, but I'm only thinking about what it's like for my parents and for my mom and her siblings, and then also I know that we have the pleasure of having our grandma. So I'm the grandson of Don and Julie, and their siblings got to be here today. We have Uncle Roger and Aunt Sonia coming up, and we have So that's Grandpa's side of the family. On Grandma's side of the family, Aunt Jan is here. And Aunt Joyce is not here, but we do have confirmation she's on her way. So that'll be awesome when she gets here. We'll have to give another round of applause for her. And then, so we have people who are directly related to the family that are here, but also people who were affected, that are not related, that were affected not by just Grandma Julie and not by just Grandpa Don, but it was affected specifically by their marriage, and it couldn't have been without a combination of both. And a good representation that would be David and Joy Waugh. They have the Waughs, I think they come from pretty up there in Ohio, right? Along with Aunt Jan, but we have Aunt Joyce coming up from Michigan. We have Uncle Denver came up from Louisiana, Mississippi, and then Auntie Amber came up from Louisiana with Uncle Stephen, and
A Seeley woman can never resist a microphone. And I am truly verbal. I just, first of all, I'm going to cry. I've been crying all day. The people in this room are so important to us. And as I was looking through our wedding pictures and going through this interview with Kelsey and thinking about the last 50 years, you people are what have mattered. I don't know how many cars we've been through. I've wrecked a number of them. Totaled them. That's my specialty. Anyone else here? Total 3 cars. We've been through a number of houses. I don't know how many sofas. We've ruined a lot of carpeting. But it's you and what you have put into our lives. You are so important to us, and you have formed us, and you have set an example for us, and you've reflected the good things we do back to us, and you've reflected the bad things we do back to us. And that's how we grow up, is as you reflect back at us. But I want to say, I kind of touched on it in the interview. Those of you who've been married for a while know this is true. There's some really ugly days in marriage. There's some absolutely miserable days in marriage. There are days you cry yourself to sleep. There are days you think, I just didn't know I could feel this bad about somebody that I once loved. And if you feel that way, I want you to know that that happens to everybody. And then the ecstasy is the other part of it, and I think there's more. For Don and me, there's been more ecstasy than agony, but being married is a very difficult thing. And as I was looking at a little page I put together, that there we are going up the aisle, there we are at the altar, there we are leaving, and now and in that space of time, we had entered into a covenant with the God of creation. And it takes a little time to enter into it, but oh my goodness, then you're living it. And it is very easy for your eyes not to be on that covenant. And it is very easy. When my neighbor told me that the enemy wanted my marriage and I was so insulted, I didn't know how true she was being. You can so quickly look at someone you love and see their faults, and their faults can get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger in your eyes. And I was once told to picture life like a triangle. So here's you, here's God, and here's whatever the snarl is. And sometimes your spouse is the snarl. And as you live life, you grow closer to whatever you're fixed on. So if you want to fix on that snarl, on that ugliness, on that whatever is repulsive in the other person, you're going to grow closer and it's going to get bigger and bigger. Or you can focus on God, and as you're moving closer to Him, you're getting further and further away from the snarl. And I just like to encourage you with that. I don't know, I may be preaching the choir, none of you need this, but there were times when I needed people to encourage me that my marriage was something to hold on to. And that eternity was going to be different if I didn't. It's not just me and Dawn. It's not just me, Dawn, Ann, April, Dimmer, and Amber. Me, Dawn, Ann, April, Dimmer, and Amber, and then I can start the 21 names of grandchildren. You're living amongst other people, and eternity is going to be impacted for those people by what's going on in your life. Now, I know there are really rotten people in the world who just destroy their spouses, and I'm not trying to say everybody should be married for 50 years, but I am saying that I think marriage takes a lot of work. And when you're looking back on it 50 years later, you're smiling about almost everything. But it's work along the way. It's like exercise. You know, exercise. And how miserable it can be, but how glad you are with the nice results of it. And so you, all of you, and a number of other people are how Dawn and I held it together, because we had God guiding us, and because we had your love and we had your example, and we were accountable to you, and you're the glue. And all of you, you need other people involved with you in your life and your marriage. And sometimes you're in a very lonely spot, and if you are, get out of that lonely spot and get people connected to your life and your marriage, because you're going to need them to pull it all together and to make it happen. But I'm certainly not an expert on marriage. I just stayed alive long enough. And Dawn and I have been talking to each other for a week. We've got to make it to Saturday, because until we make it to Saturday, or we don't get to say we were married for 50 years. And I have no idea what it's like after this. But I hope this doesn't sound morbid, but really, what the kids did for us in preparing this, sometimes people do after the parents die, and they reminisce and they have some big thing and stuff. And our kids did it while we're still alive, and we got to be here. We got to have the goodies, and thank you every one of you for what, I know I'm speaking for Dawn right now, what you mean to us and what the part you've played in our marriage, and we just can't thank you enough. And we can't thank our wonderful children and grandchildren enough for all the work it took to put on today. So thank you.
Amen.
Okay, Dimmer has the tissues for me. I wanted to give a shout out to a few people. Stefan, Amber's husband, is the one who put together the music that we've been listening to. He did research for hours and found all the songs that were popular in 1966. And so that's what we've been listening to. Amber, John and Julie's youngest, over there, she is the baker today. So she made a red velvet wedding cake as a little replica, and she made much more than 50 cupcakes in the shape of a 50 in 3 different flavors. And on them she put little flags for each of the years from 1966 until now. And if you see a little baby on a cupcake, that's the year that that baby was born. And if you see a heart, that's the year of a wedding. So it kind of tells a story, if you look over there. If you belong to Ann Leitner, please stand up. Okay. So there's Brian, Anthony and Brian, Joseph, Annabelle, Benjamin, Sarah, where's Hannah? Hannah, Elizabeth, somewhere. There's Joshua. And Samuel. Oh, there's Sam. Okay. And then I'm the second, so I'll go next. I'm Pryor, so you're one of my offspring. Stand up. And my husband, too. There's Jeremy. Kelsey's my oldest. She's back there with the camera. Jackson, who gave his nice welcome earlier. And then Sydney, Lisa, and Kyra over there with the beautiful headband on. The third child, Felix is back there, and he and his lovely wife Jenny. If you are related to them, stand up. Okay, there's Nineveh, Lydia, Jonah is hiding behind Priscilla, and Nina. Nina's over there, and then baby Robert. Right, and then the youngest, Celia Amber. And if you are related to her, stand up.
Miss Lake Rye.
Okay, there's Stefan, and Rye can't stand up yet. So Rye Rendon's job is to be super cute and wear his English gentleman hat. There he is!
Thank you.
Anne is the decorator of the party. She comes up with these great ideas, and so we thank her for all her hard work on that. And then my older daughter Kelsey and I are in charge of the entertainment. So, I hope you can entertain after a little while. Okay, so we might all wonder, how long is 50 years? 50 years is a long time. So I thought I would put it into phrases that we can kind of relate to. It's 14 and a half presidential terms. It's 18,250 days. It's 438,000 hours. And this is for Aunt Joyce. In an average kindergarten school class, size of 20 students, times 2 classes a day, that would be 2,000 children will have had their lives touched in 50 years. For Uncle Roger and Dave, I might be right on this, Google helped me out. The life of a tree. Your average oak tree grows about 22 inches a year or something, and after 50 years it would be 91.5 feet tall. Aunt Sonia, when I was growing up, did a lot of hair styling, and I figured it out it would be 300 inches of hair growth in 50 years. And for Aunt Jan, who worked in a bank for many, many years, the average life of a $1 bill is 18 months. So that would be the lifespan of 33 $1 bills. And for other people in the room, the nation of Israel was only 18 years old at the time. Very interesting.
Well, as April said, Jen and I are our son's married to April, Jeremy, and so that's where we intersected. When we gained a daughter-in-law, who for us has really become a daughter without the in-law over the last many years. And so at the time we lived in Seattle, and Don and Judah lived in Dublin, is that right? No, Hilliard, I knew that. That's right. Hilliard, Ohio, and Seattle, Washington are a long ways apart. And so we didn't really see much of each other, to say the least. But lo and behold, about 10 years ago, we intersected again when we moved from Seattle to northern Kentucky, and they moved from Hilliard to northern Kentucky. And so it's been a joy to experience a friendship over the last about 10 years now. And Don and I worked in Jeremy's business for about 3 years together. And as Don liked to say, we developed our own Amen Corner there. Amidst all the Token Town and other stuff that we dealt with. And so we really enjoyed our friendship so much with you, Don and Julie. And the first 40 years we didn't know you, but the last 10 years we've really gotten to know you. And we enjoy a weekly Shabbat at Jeremy and April's house with Don and Julie. And so it's sometimes when you gain a daughter and April, you don't always get a bonus. We got a bonus with Don and Julie, and they become our dear friends. And we're nipping at your heels. You've shown us the way to 50. We're almost to 48. So thanks for showing the way. We appreciate it and love you very much.
Well, we're from Hilliard. We've been there. I guess you guys, 37 years we've known you. You moved to Hilliard 78. Yeah, so since 78. I'm not really good at math, so that 22-inch thing threw me. The oak tree. We've actually got close enough. We even bought the house that Don grew up in. So we've been real close to them. We knew they grew up with their kids. Our kids are about similar ages, so just went to church with them. I think about everything there for a few years, didn't we? And so I'm always amazed. Every time I see Don, he looks the same. How do you do that? So, but it's been, my wife and I have been married. I told you math wasn't my 41 years, but we always, and all through our married life, raising kids, Joy would always be on the phone. Hey, Julie, what do I do now? Kelly did this, or Michelle did that. And so we always got good advice from them. And but what I appreciate more than anything was the fact that they were always a family. No matter what was going on, it was just such a priority for them. And their marriage was a priority, but it was just their whole family. It really spoke a lot to us and helped us raise our three girls. And anyway, so we're still together also. So we're still following your path. So, but I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't ask you. You know why there are only 3 legs on a milking stool? Why the cow has the udder.
Hello. Okay, work. Testing. No. I'm Donald's younger brother, and he has all these little young folks out here that he's getting payback because he gave our mother much grief with me. I am reminded of the time we were out in our orchard. We were on a farm. We had 125 trees. Well, first I should tell about Little Gypsy. Little Gypsy was a tractor that we had that had a little cart on it, and it was big enough to haul kids. And so April Fool's Day come along, and Sonia and myself and Donald, oh, let's get this thing good. So we came in running in, and Mom, Donald broke his arm, come quick. And she came out, and she was just all aflutter, and she looked at it, and April Fool!
Oh boy.
So, consequently, after that little episode, we were out in the orchard and we were sawing tree limbs. And of course, Donald, in his engineering background, was standing out here and sawing this way. So, all of a sudden this tree limb gave way and Donald went with it. And he fell on his arm and broke it, and it was a compound fracture. And you could see the bones. And so I ran in the house and said, Mom, come, Donald broke his arm. She said, you tell that kid to come in here. I want to see him right now. So I did, and here we came. We were like the arm hanging. She had it. She was crazy. Anyway, so any of your young ones pull anything on you, you're just getting payback. But the really neat story, several of them, is that when I was in 4-H, Donald was in 4-H, Julie was in 4-H, and it happened to be, I'm not sure what the year was, but Julie was the queen of the fair, and I was the king of the fair. And so we were king and queen together, and I introduced my brother to Julie, and it was all over. And everybody knows what a faithful man he is, and I'm so thankful for that. Because we went to Dublin Baptist Church along with him after his lead, and all three of my young ones walked up front and were accepted Christ. So thank you, Donald. And Julie, sorry.
Hey everyone, Jeremy, how you doing? Cool. Well, it's been a huge pleasure being a part of the Seeley family, Seeley clan. It's been an incredible experience, and just feeling so loved and accepted by Don and Julie and by everyone. The first time I got to work with Don, I just was thinking about this today, was when April and I were moving. We were about to move all of our furniture across the country. And so we pulled up the big Penske truck. And I thought this would take about, 45 minutes to throw all of April's stuff in the back of the truck. And so Don takes a look at it, and then I remember one piece at a time, and he'd take a step back, look at it, tie this, and it got perfectly aligned and everything, then go back down. I remember after about, spending about 20, 30 minutes per piece, I talked to April, and I was like, is this, can I say, no, okay. we're gonna do it this way. Which was an awesome blessing, because I had no idea what I was doing, and all the furniture got there safe and sound. And it just reminds me too of, Don has a history of making really wise decisions. And that's one of the things that I've watched him do and been really blessed by. And this last couple days have been really amazing. Like April was talking about, we're in this kind of portal moment where we're thinking about what's the meaning of 50 years of marriage and of commitment. And one of the things, as the first day on Friday, when we had this amazing moment with all 32 of the clan taking pictures. We had a photographer come out, and Don got his motorcycle out, and we took some incredibly candid pictures. And so while we were doing this, I kept on hearing this phrase go off in the back of my head every single time I looked at them, and it was just like, "Thus is the man blessed who fears the Lord." And then we would go, with the Towsey house that night, and we had this incredible dinner with the adult children, and Don blessed us, and it was an amazing moment. And again, that phrase, "Thus is the man blessed who fears the Lord." And yesterday, all throughout the day, we went to Dayton, looked at some places where Don and Julie and the kids, Ann and April, when they were younger, lived, in the Wright Patterson and their church, and that phrase kept coming to my mind. And I wasn't quite sure where it was from. So while we were, just like an hour ago, I actually went to all-powerful Google and typed this phrase in, and it was from Psalm 128. And I just want to read this to you guys. This is, it says, the title is "Blessed is everyone who fears the Lord." It says, "Blessed is everyone who fears the Lord, who walks in his ways. You shall eat the fruit of the labor of your hands. You shall be blessed, and it shall be well with you. Your wife will be like a fruitful vine within your house. Your children will be like olive shoots around your table. Behold, thus shall the man be blessed who fears the Lord. The Lord bless you from Zion. May you see the prosperity of Jerusalem all the days of your life. May you live to see your children's children. Peace be upon Israel." And so I think all of those decisions to fear the Lord, to take these choices, this is the fruit, and this is the blessing of the Lord. And I just wanted to say, wow, this is such a great thing to see, and see, thus is the man blessed who fears the Lord.
Much younger, by 11 months, sister Joyce. I've known Julie longer than anybody else in this room except for our sister James. Anyway, emotional time. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you, I have a memory of Julie because she has always told me what to do. No matter what the situation, she always had an opinion and told me what to do. And one of the times I remember her telling me what to do was when she was actually in a crib with polio. And we didn't know how that was all going to work out, but it didn't matter to me. I was like 4 years old, 3 years old, and I needed to learn to tie my shoes. And so Julie very patiently, and probably for many days, taught me step by step how to tie my shoes without ever being able to touch me. Now I think that just tells you how she sees things completely and in a systematic order and knows how to tell other people what to do. And then I remember the whole romance of Julie and Don. We were in a sorority together. One of the big things in the sorority was to pass the candle when somebody got engaged or pinned or just fell in love. And we got to pass the candle for Julie and Don and how exciting that was. But I think what I remember about Julie and Don is how faithful they have been to each other, to their faith and to their family. And we've all benefited from that. So thank you so much.
Well, my name is Joseph Leitner, and I am the grandchild of Grandma and Grandpa and Julie and Donald, and it has been an absolute blessing. I'll give memories of what I remember of Grandpa and what I remember of Grandma, and then what I've gathered from both of them together, because that's why we're here, is because they've stayed together for over 50 years. But with Grandpa, I remember not too long ago, actually, a few years ago, he was teaching me how to change the belt on his mower, and I was younger at that time, so of course. Okay, it goes there. All right. But I know how to change that now. I know how to work that, and he has taught me many, many other skills along these years that I have slowly learned, and now I have those different abilities learned, and I know how to do that on my own now. And when I have my own family, Lord willing, I'll be able to use those skills. With Grandma, she has always been willing to trust me with just about anything. She sees the potential in all of her grandchildren and her children as well. And she has just blessed me with giving me all these different opportunities to expand on my skills, to expand on what God has blessed me with. And she's just trusted that God has made me uniquely. And it's been such a blessing that I get to have a grandma like you. And then, most importantly, like Jackson was saying in the welcome when you all came in, we live in a society today where relationships don't last long, and we're raised where what you want is dominant, and if you want to move on, then you divorce whoever you're married, and you go marry someone else, and you do what you want. But Grandma and Grandpa are godly people, and they have in their hearts, with each other, and in between them, and all around them, they have God. They have God's love. And they have stayed together for over 50 years. Day over 50 years. Over 50 years. And that is such an amazing example for us grandchildren, and children as well, that it's possible to love each other for so long, and to continue to love each other, because Christ loved us much longer. And Grandma and Grandpa are the perfect example that we can look down here on this world and see the love that they have for each other. So thank you for remaining faithful to each other for 50 years. It has helped. It's a great example to me and the rest of us. Thank you.
I'm Amber, Don and Julie's youngest daughter, and Brian and Michelle have now surpassed us as the newliest married people, but I've only been married for about 3 years, and so my husband Stephen grew up as an only child. So the experience of being in a Seeley family where there are lots of siblings and lots of children is quite a different thing. And we have now had this experience a few times, but even preparing for this very party, we had our roles that we were going to contribute. And I had my whole list of things that needed to be done. And then I look at Stefan and I'm like, okay, and now you load the car and then you do this and then you do this. And he was like, what? What's going on? What is all this stuff? And when did you think of all this? And I was like, well, how do you not know this? And I feel like I watched Mom and Dad be a team so much throughout my life. I know that it hasn't always been easy to coordinate logistical things, but it's really amazing to me to see how you guys have worked together, and we're working out the way that we work together and support each other, and we're learning the things that I do and the things that Stefan can do to support, and that can change depending on the event, but I just was really struck with getting ready for this party, how much you guys work together as a team, and how neat that is. And so as my husband and I figure out the way we work together, I like looking at you two as an example. So thanks for all of your teamwork. And I also have a job to say that it's time for dessert. So we're going to have Mom and Dad do cutting of the cake, feeding each other. And then come and help yourself to some dessert.
Wait, I was going to say something first.
Oh, okay. There's something else that needs to be said.
All right, I'm Denver Seeley. I'm the only boy, the third of four. And what Jeremy said, I really appreciated, and I was thinking about the significance of 50. And not only is it a look back, but I'm reminded of something that Julie said one time about her mother. And it's not just a look back, it's also a look forward. So Julie was reminiscing on her own mother, Eloise. And if I remember anything about the interaction between Mom and her mother, it was one of great respect, but also not always one of great constant agreement. And grandmother had very strong opinions, but she said something at one point that Mom listened to, agreed, and followed. I was a little surprised. And I asked her about it. This is when I was an older teenager, maybe in college. But she made a statement. There's something about seeing people live for 50 years. And I may not always agree with my mother. I would agree with my mother. She said on many occasions for lots of reasons. But there's something about seeing people go through life and live, make decisions, see about generations, see children grow and make choices, get married, and then them having children. The children grow and see make choices. And so she listened to what her mother said. Very taking care of her in her older years. And so that stuck with me. And not only because she tells me that I need to listen to her, but 50 is a special number in the Bible in terms of the cycles of life and the law that was established for Israel. There was 7-year pattern. At the end of 7 years, there was what do we call it, Jeremy? The 7th year. So at you may be involved in business activities and transactions. You reach the end of 7 years, it may not have worked out well. And so at the end of 7 years, there was a period of restoration, of forgiveness of debt, and kind of starting over. And then there was a special circumstance at the end of 49 years, the year of Jubilee. And there could have been decisions made through entire families. That affected property, losing the whole farm, losing, having to be sold into servitude in order to make things work. And at the end in this special year, the 50th year of Jubilee, there was a great deal more that was forgiven. And so I think that's what I've learned from looking at Mom and Dad. At every point in your life, you have to make the best decisions you can. And as Dave said, you ask for advice from people. How do I handle this situation? Well, maybe you may not make the best decision, doesn't work out well. But what has been demonstrated to me as a child, because I messed up quite a bit, and I got lots of second chances, was that Don and Julie have demonstrated a lot of forgiveness toward me as a child. Towards friends and towards family, and have been the recipients of forgiveness and friendship and renewal. And so this 50 years is a look back over a lot of life and a lot of decisions, and a lot of marks and scars along the way, but it's also a time to look forward. So this is not just to look back, but Dad, you better be doing your walking so I can keep calling you to ask you questions. And for all of you who are celebrating too, you're not at the 50 mark or having passed the 50 mark. It's a community of family, community of friends, and we all really need these interactions so that we can to the end of the road. Really appreciate Pastor Steve's sermon this morning. Running your ways well and having a come back to life in this different cycle. So that's what I have to say about Don and Julie and 50. All right.
Don't let Grandma see that. I want to go to see her. Yeah. There you go.
Dad, you missed. You missed part of the decoration.
Yeah, I
Can you see this? Look.
Oh no, just married 50 years ago. Oh my gosh.
He's like, how am I going to get this off?
Who's the artist?
Annabelle.
Oh, Annabelle.
I'll get it off if it doesn't come off for you guys. Here comes the bride. Here comes the bride. Wait, that's not how it goes. Oh, okay.
Here comes the bride, short, fat, white. I can't remember how that version goes.
Here comes the groom, skinny as a broom.
Oh, I love it. Oh, it's Kansas. Camp Rascals.